Hi, I'm Sean. Today we're going to do some turning and tool sharpening. Let's head over to the lathe. I start with the most defective and ugliest piece of wood I can find, then drill a recess in it for the tailstock. I make sure the face that'll be glued to the waste block is flat for maximum adhesion and use hot glue to fasten the workpiece to the waste block. I put a lot of hot glue on the surfaces. I don't want the work to come off easily. The tailstock is used as a press to hold the work in place as the glue cools. You want to see squeeze out like this, and if there are any gaps, CA glue can be used as extra assurance. Note that I only do this on small pieces, being 5 inches long and 3 inches in diameter at the most. While the glue cools, I need to outfit my grinder with a sharpening system. I cut a 17-inch long piece from a larger piece of 3/4 inch plywood for the base and another smaller piece to raise the grinder, allowing clearance for the holders. With the grinder in position, a line is marked on the plywood base to represent the center of the wheels, and the bend in the holder base, here, is lined up with the mark and fastened in place with screws. Sharpening the bowl gouge is simple with this system. Just pick the type of grind you want and insert the gauge block into the grinding jig and set the position of the leg angle. Set the leg in the pocket and position the gauge block on the wheel so both points are in contact and lock the holder in place. Now remove the gauge block and insert the bowl gouge. Simply press the surface of the jig against the back of the adjustable holder and push the tip of the gouge against the reference surface. Then tighten the brass knob, place the jig in the holder pocket, and roll the gouge side to side. Cool the tip in water as needed if you're grinding a lot to reestablish a new bevel. Now let's get to turning that hollow form. A roughing gouge could be used to true the blank, but I like using a bowl gouge right off the grinder. I use a push cut to shape the top and bottom of the form, while the bevel of the gouge supports the fibers as the edge slices. An almost mirror surface is the result. I use the wings of the gouge as a shear scraper to shape the form. Once I reach the desired shape, I sand through the grits to 600, then drill a hole to establish the depth and start the hollowing. Compressed air is used to clear the chips. I start the hollowing process with the gouge slowly scraping from the center of the outside, hollowing the top of the vessel first, and moving toward the bottom. When finished with the gouge, I use the bent hollowing tool. Click the link to see how I made this tool. This tool is a scraper, so light passes are essential to keep the piece intact. You can see the tool through the wormholes as the wall reaches a thickness of about 1/8 of an inch. I use a detail pick to clean the wormholes from the outside surface as I hollow the piece. The process is the same for the 5-inch vase, and the gouge is the only tool used for this piece. An inside bowl scraper would work nicely for finishing though. To part the hollow form from the waste, I use the point tool to establish the base of the form. Click this link to see how I made this tool as well. The thin parting tool is used to remove the form from the waste, and this is the final turned product. I'll finish this piece off the lathe. As for the vase, I chose to finish it while it was still on the lathe. I applied 5 coats of Danish oil with a cotton applicator, sanding with progressive grits between each coat, and finished with a 5000 grit pad to bring the piece to a satin shine. You can see my finishing process here. These are turnings that you can make pretty quickly, and they make great gifts. If you like this video, please share it on social media and consider subscribing for more project and tip videos. Thanks for watching. I'm Sean. I'll see you next time. To keep up with current projects, follow me on Twitter and Instagram. And for even more news and projects, go to spunjinworks.com.